We all know how these industrial plants out here in America disproportionately affect minority groups, especially African Americans, right? So this video that I'm about to share kind of dives into some of the policy changes uh, out in Louisiana, which I was just there not too long ago, and I did see a lot of industrial plants. It didn't register to me that this was a hot area. Louisiana is a hot area for chemical pollution and affecting certain demographic African Americans. Um, but this video kind of digs in, gives a little more information on what's going on in Louisiana, the positive change, and then sounds like some of those changes are being pulled back, basically to continue to pollute Louisiana. So very interesting, very interesting. One of those quiet topics that not a lot of people are talking about outside of the areas that it's happening in. So y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich of Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
A large number of studies have shown that the burden of air pollution in the United States is not evenly shared. It falls disproportionately on racial minorities, especially blacks. In 2022, the Biden administration began investigating whether Louisiana's approval of where industrial plants are located disproportionately affected minorities in that state, even unintentionally. But last month, the federal judge said the administration can't do that and can only investigate regulatory decisions that are intentionally discriminatory. While that ruling is limited to Louisiana, 23 Republican governors had already asked the EPA to scrap that approach. Beverly Wright heads the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice. This case started in St. John the Baptist Parish in Louisiana. Tell us more about that place, what it looks like and who lives there.
It came out of St. John Parish, but the site is the same across what is called Cancer Alley, where we have the third highest cancer rate in the nation, an 85-mile stretch of land between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, with over 156 petrochemical plants and 6 refineries, over 200 million pounds of pollution. That number is almost comparable to the amount of pollution in the state of Texas. All of the research basically shows that it was intentional, and we can show places where white community members were actually moved away from areas while Black people were left to languish in pollution as they expanded the plants. St. John Parish was one of the communities that actually brought Administrator Reagan down for what he called a Journey to Justice tour. And he was able to see with his own eyes, smell, and feel the stench of these facilities. And then look at the data that showed, for example, a public school down the road from a facility called Dinka that produced very dangerous chemicals. And that was the one that we were really working to get not so much shut down, but certainly getting them to reduce the amount of ethylene oxide that they were putting into the air, harming children.
The judge who handed down this ruling also wrote in his order that pollution doesn't discriminate, but in a separate section, he said, when a decision maker has to consider race, it has indeed participated in racism. In other words, considering the race when you're talking about where these plants are sited, that's racism. What do you say to that?
I say that it's ridiculous, and it's a specious argument that they're trying to use. Everything shows that pollution does discriminate. We can determine almost how long you're going to live by your address. And the addresses of poor people and people of color are such that we live near the most dangerous polluting facilities. Our air is worse. And that's why I felt that we should have taken this further.
You've been critical of the EPA and the Justice Department here. What do you think they should have done?
No, I'm not so much critical of EPA. I'm critical of the Department of Justice, because I couldn't imagine EPA doing the amount of work that they did on this particular case, sitting down with the state of Louisiana, coming to an agreement of how these things would be redressed, and then decide not to move forward. And it's really just exciting what I would call bad behavior all over. It's like a kid getting, oh, I can get away with this. Let me spread the word. And so that same bad behavior is happening across the country, where you have these governors and these departments of environmental quality are making certain that the siting of these really dangerous facilities are always closest to people of color. And that has happened continuously in our society.
What's the next step for your group, your organization, and people who are fighting this?
So there are a number of ways that it can be attacked. Of course, we can continue to raise our voices and interact with government. That's how we've gotten anything that we've gotten done. But there are other ways to deal with it. And I think that the EPA actually found another way, and that's called the Han Rule, where the Han Rule really falls under the Clean Air Act, which basically says that you are supposed to reduce exposure of extremely hazardous chemicals to society in general. So that's still on the table, where they still have to follow the rule, but making certain that the rules are followed, that the Clean Air Act has within it some protective measures. And we have to identify what those measures are and push forward in that way to reduce exposure.
Beverly Wright of the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really, really, really hate when when these corporations either get out of or try and get out of issues that are coming their way, or they try and blow up the changes that are trying to be made for the better of the Black community by stating that doing anything specifically for the Black community is racist. I really, really, really hate that. I mean, obviously, right? Like, the entire Black supremacy is based on supporting the Black community. So it's only a matter of time before they come trying to break us down. But I just hate it just because it's such a lame cop out. It's such a lame cop out. Like that in this situation, the actions that these plants are taking are it's a fact that they are disproportionately affecting minorities, especially African Americans. The actions that they are taking, right, are disproportionately affecting African Americans and minorities. But for that group, the African American minorities group, to say that is racist, that they can do it and it not be a racist act, right? But for us to say it and for us to study it and for us to pull the data, it's considered racist. That's beyond me. And that's about as far as my brain can go on that. That just makes no sense. And I just feel like it's just such a cop. It's just a cop out. Same with that fund, and I spoke about it some time ago. That I think it was a business grant specifically for Black women entrepreneurship, and the lawyers came in and said, "Oh, we're basically trying to shut." I think they end up shutting it down based on the fact that they were calling it racist. But the actions from the banks and from a lot of these places that fund government funded and other private funds, the actions that they take and the systems and the processes that they set up are statistically intentional in blocking out certain groups, including African American women who are trying to get funds to grow their business. But there's nothing wrong with that. So it's like on one end, so basically on one end, we're supposed to just breathe in polluted air and not get funded for our business and not get into uh, better schools and not be able to buy houses in better areas. We're supposed to just, that's supposed to just be the case. But when we pull the data and we try and level the playing field on our own, now we're racist. Very, 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 very weird, interesting, but lame cop out from anybody who attacks, um, these types of things that have the data to prove. So, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. All right. It's just tiring. It's tiring to even think about it. I just exhausted myself just thinking about it. But y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. It's Ricky Rich of Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.